Did you know it's possible to feel fit and fab while going through menopause? Hi, I'm Cora Naylor, certified coactive coach and emotion co-practitioner. Whether you're an empty nester or not, figuring out whether or not are in menopause and getting the help you need to get through this time of life can be challenging. So to give us some helpful tips, I've invited Kate Sansom to join us today. As a social media influencer and fitness expert, Kate combines her health and wellness knowledge with her own personal journey through menopause to help ladies find daily solutions to feeling fit and fab during this time of life. So, welcome, Kate.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me, Cora. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. I know you're going to have some good tips because it's definitely can be some challenging times. I know personally for me, it was the perimenopause that seemed to be going on forever and it was a long process. The menopause part didn't seem as bad, but it for many women, it's challenging all over the place.
It is. And even the terminology of the perimenopause, so many ladies aren't even aware that that is a thing. And that, so they think so long as their periods are still happening, that then they can't possibly be menopausal. Whereas in fact, it can be a 4-year lead in for ladies. And when the estrogen levels are going up and down, where they still think that it couldn't possibly be happening, but in fact, it is. Yes.
The joys of being a woman. We just go from one stage to the next.
Yes.
So what kind of led you up to this? Like, you've been in the fitness industry for a lot of years, right?
Yes. So I've been in the fitness industry for 31 years, actually, and helping ladies feel good, get fit amongst and get fit. And I've been out in the community, and up in the northeast of Scotland is where I am based. And so when I used to be a fitness instructor in gyms and then within our martial arts studio. And then I started doing online fitness 2 years ago, and to fit in around my children and us ladies that have to fit in and around children. So I had my twins when I was 43. I'm 51 now. And so I wanted to be around for them. So fitness online is what I started, and then started going through the journey with other ladies of my age group into the menopause last summer.
So, okay, so maybe you can give us a little bit of background of what made you get onto this menopause, really focus on this.
Yes, well, last summer I started realizing that I was losing my mojo. And I mean, a lot of my ladies call me like the original Duracell bunny, the original high energy person. And I was just kind of finding that I was losing that and the pleasure of my children. There was just an edge was being knocked off me, and I was getting a lot more aches and pains. And then the only thing that made it trigger was the sweat. And because I went through IVF treatments to have my children, I had to go through 10 rounds of IVF. And during that time, they took my estrogen levels right down to 0. So I went through the equivalent of the menopause in 10 days. And I did that 8 times. So I knew, wait a minute, I know what these symptoms are. And during that time, I'd had to do a lot of self-help on myself to keep my marriage and to keep my husband willing to keep trying for these children. So I thought, wait a minute, I know this is a hormone imbalance. Started to look for information on the menopause and couldn't find, for those of us that are list tickers, there was no list. I couldn't find it anywhere. I could find lots of people talking about their symptoms and lots of people talking about HRT, but I couldn't find a list. So I set about getting the information together and found a list for ladies.
Oh, awesome. So that's like a checklist to see if you're in the process of menopause?
Yes. So this helps people. So I managed to get it down to 19 of the most frequent symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. And I took that with me to my doctor, and the list that I had found was actually used back in the 1970s for ladies when they thought they might be losing their mind. And it had had enough science behind it that I was willing to give it a try at that stage. And so I put that I had the 19 symptoms, and I kept a diary over the 3 weeks before my appointment of how frequently I felt these symptoms. Took this along to my doctor, and she said, oh my gosh, because I don't know if it's the same in Canada, but we only have 10 minutes to pour your heart out to your doctor, get a diagnosis, and leave the building. And for the menopause, because it's an emotional thing as well, and quite often ladies haven't spoken about it before, she said quite often the first 5 minutes is ladies crying. Then I need to establish if it is anxiety, depression, or something else. And so this list, you take that process away. The doctor, it's in line with the tick list that the doctors are looking for symptoms, so they can then cut straight to the chase and establish if it is the menopause or if it's something else.
So do you know what any, like some of the differences would be that would be more inclined to be on menopause as opposed to anxiety and other things? Or
Yes, so it tends to be that the anxiety has come on not because the clinical anxiety can come on because of a particular event or something that triggers it, whereas the hormonal anxiety seems to be something that builds within people, and it isn't there all the time because it's going with the hormone fluctuations.
yeah.
So, and the fact that you are getting this alongside the headaches, alongside hair falling out, nails becoming brittle, tingling sensation on your tooth, extremities tingling, the night sweats. People tend to just think it's about the night sweats and about the foggy mind, but there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, I know. I can remember in the perimenopause for me, I felt like I was PMSing for 3 weeks and then had my period for a week. So I was happy when that was over.
Yes, absolutely. But it's one of those things, us ladies, once we know what it is, we can deal with it far better.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
good, good. And so is that part of your program, like part of the exercise? And do you help with other parts of it as well?
Well, what I found for myself, and then as I did more research into it, is the more that I exercised, but we need to change the way we exercise because we also get weight gain around the middle because of the estrogen dropping. And believe it or not, the fat cells around your stomach actually produce estrogen. So your body is craving estrogen to such an extent, it will lay down the fatty adipose tissue, specifically around the middle. And also it is withdrawing muscle. You're dropping the muscle from over the age of 40, but specifically when the estrogen levels drop. So your whole metabolism is closing down and is slowing down. So when I asked my doctor about this, I said, is this actually scientifically proven? And she said, oh yeah, something like that. So you just need to cut out a meal a day. And she didn't know my background as health and fitness expert. And I was like, oh my gosh, this lady sees 10 women a day specifically for HRT or hormones or menopause. And if she's telling each one of those to cut out a meal a day, they're going to get their blood sugar levels going up and down even more. They're going to feel even more tense, even more fizzed off. It's just going to accelerate things. So I found that we need to do certain resistant exercise. You need to do little and often. Things that have served you in the past are actually, I'm afraid, sorry ladies to hear this, no longer going to serve you. You need to change what you are doing in your exercise regime. The minute you start to get the little stick arms and legs and the barrel around the middle, you need to find somebody who knows what they're talking about and change it.
Right. And so what kind of things are we supposed to be doing differently then? Like, do we eat differently and exercise differently?
Yes, so you're looking at a lot of your deep green vegetables. You're looking at a lot of anything that is the red and the purple side of things when it comes to your colorful carbohydrates. Protein is your friend because you need to keep the muscle, and carbs are your friend because you need to be mixing it up, but you need to be using the nice, the good carbs.
Yeah.
And suddenly the white bread, the whites in there are really not your friend at all. So a lot of antioxidants and that side of things. And in the exercise, you need to add resistance. need to add resistance. Otherwise, you know, when you see a lot of ladies over here, because we're in golfing country, you see a lot of older ladies on the golf course that have got a flat bottom. Whereas they used to look amazing in their lycra in their 20s, 30s, maybe early 40s, but then suddenly from nowhere, you start to get, wait a minute, I can't see it, get the right way. You start to get the bingo wings, the saggy skin, and the flat bottom. Well, this is a sign that you need to do the resistance training, get the muscles working, and you need low impact. Suddenly running and a lot of cardio is not going to do it. That's just going to burn up your muscles quicker.
Yeah. So resistance stuff like weight bearing exercise, that would mean yoga.
Yes. Again, it's finding a trainer that knows what they're talking about, that you only need small resistance to make the difference. And you can use bands. You can use, it's not a case of going in the gym and starting power squatting and things like that. It's just using small resistance, but very frequently. So in Kate's club, I have ladies exercising with me 5 times a week. 20 minutes is all we require, and then stretching one day, and I do a Saturday sizzler for 10 minutes because every lady on the planet is really busy on a Saturday and is less likely to do it. So I make it 10 minutes of really easy, and we mix it up in there, stretching, keeping the injuries at bay, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's nice, and it's a nice quick one. And especially these days, everybody's working out at home. I mean, a few people have gone back to the gym, but it's not in full force yet. So that's great to know. So thanks so much for being on here today, Kate. And if people want to get in touch with you, they can go, we've got your website running along here. So if they want to find out more about your Kate's Club, your workout, and do you talk about fitness and eating a little bit in there, or is it mostly just working out?
So I have a full eating method that I follow with the ladies in there. And also for people that want that list of the 19 symptoms, go to my blog on my website, and you will, I think it is the 3rd blog down that says, are you menopausal? And you will see there is a downloadable PDF there that the ladies can go to and download that to take to their doctors, or just for reference, really. So I try to put out as much information as I can on my Facebook page. So yeah, reach out to me on my Facebook page. I'm always every day there's tips out there. I'm very active on social media. So reach out to me anyway. I was put on this planet to help other ladies feel good.
Awesome. Oh, that's so great. So thanks again, Kate, for being on here and sharing. So if anybody wants any other questions answered, you feel free to reach out to Kate through her website. Again, it's running along the bottom. And if you're an empty nester and you want some support from some other empty nesters, comment below with a yes, and I'll get you added into my empty nester group. So thanks for joining us today, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.